Welcome back to the channel. I am Jason I actually haven't thought of a name for this channel yet. Well, I take that back. I've got a name in mind, but I haven't 100% decided on it. I'll probably leave that for the third video just to be on the safe side. But this is a channel where I'm going to talk about business, how I run my business, and the things that I did to get off the ground. This is not a channel telling you how to do your business. I would never do that. My hope is that the lessons that I learned may be valuable to you. Maybe you could watch this channel and take some of the things that I've implemented and have those things help you get your business off the ground. This video is going to be what I considered the top 10 most important things that I had to do in order to get this business off the ground. So not all of these are going to apply depending on the kind of business that you do. Surely some of this stuff can apply to you at very least. So let's get right into it. Step one. Let's choose a good name for the business. That's getting harder and harder to do. Seems like all the good names are taken. But you know, you're going to have to come up with some kind of name that identifies what you do to your customer base. One of the things that happens a lot, and it used to frustrate me, you know, you'd be driving down the road, maybe see a truck that had a logo and a business name on it, and it would say something like Diversified Enterprises. and you don't know what it is. You have no idea. There's another one, and I'm gonna name some names and step on some toes here. The Liosi Group. What do they do? Well, unless you've heard a ton of commercials on the radio explaining it to you, you may not know. Now, what they do is printers, and they supply toner and that sort of thing. They have to spend a ton of money to let people know who they are. If they were named Your Printer Guy, there is no question about what Your Printer Guy does versus the Liosi Group. Choose a good name. Take some time here. Think about it. Get some good ideas for a name. Step two is to get licensed. Now, depending on what the kind of business that is, that may be as simple as just paying for a license. And just like that, you have a license. It may not be. For example, electricians, plumbers, HVAC, there's a lot of hurdles that have got to be overcome in order to get your license. So start working on that. I mention it because what you don't want to do is have a game plan, jump in feet first, only to discover that there's some major hurdle in your way. I'm going to give you an example of that. Most cities around here, if you want to be a handyman, you go give them some money, and just like that, you're a handyman. You have a handyman's business license. You can do minor plumbing up to a very low dollar amount. The same thing for electrical. They'll allow you to do things up to a certain dollar amount. I think it's $250 for most of the cities around here. But Huntsville, Alabama is much, much different. They don't allow you to do any electrical at all. I'm not sure that they'll allow plumbing. But in fact, what they make you do as a handyman is choose 3 different types of things you're going to be doing, and they are very, very specific. So, for instance, if you said, well, I want to be a cabinet guy. As a handyman anywhere else, you may do cabinets, doors, you might install some windows. But in the city of Huntsville, they're going to say, well, trim, that is one category in your license. Cabinets, that is a category. And oh, by the way, are you going to paint them? Well, if the answer is yes, then boom, just like that, that is your third category. So for every other city, you can be a handyman. But for Huntsville and Huntsville only, you are nothing more than a cabinet man. Get this stuff out of the way up front, because what you don't want to have is a surprise when you're trying to do something that is going to be the source of your income. Number 3, get online. Get a Google My Business listing. It's free, costs absolutely nothing to do, but it is absolutely critical. Now, unless they've changed it, if you don't have a website, Google My Business will not allow you to proceed. Another thing that may surprise you about it, Google is going to ask you what type of business you are, and if you answer the certain way, they're going to require you to have an actual retail storefront. And it depends on the business. As a general rule, it tends to be service industries. You're allowed to work out of your home, but pretty much everyone else, we want to have an actual retail locations. Google My Business is what puts you on Google Maps. It's what gives you the ability to appear on Google Search if you're going to do advertising. And trust me, you're going to want to do advertising. The other part of that was the website. Listen, the days when you had to spend a bunch of money on SEO and had to have a great looking website are kind of over. And I say kind of over because it's still important. having what we call organic results is still very important. And if you don't know, organic results just means that Google just found you through luck of the search, and there you were because your website was stronger than your competitor's website. But getting up there, it's extremely competitive, and the chances of someone new appearing high on a search result are pretty much zero unless what you're doing is extremely specific and there is no competition. Just go ahead and get used to the fact that having the best website and all those things, it's just not what matters up front. To start with, just get a basic website that shows your phone number, maybe your business hours, a little bit about who you are, where you are if you want to show those kinds of things. Just the basics. Another part of being online is your social media. Your social media presence is a way to tell people what it is that you're doing at very little cost. Most of those platforms will allow you to have a business page for free. And that's when you invite everybody to like that page. And it just makes it easy. If one of those people sees someone that makes a post where they are looking for whatever it is you do, it's easy for them to share your page and help you maybe, just maybe, secure a deal for not that much money up front. Number 4, I know I said it was for another video. We're just going to touch on the basics right here. Advertise. You are going to have to advertise. I kind of, waded out of this water a little bit already. Your new website, I don't care how good it is or how much you paid for it. To start out, Google is not going to notice that website, and you may be sitting there like this, waiting for your phone to ring, only to have crickets, okay? You're going to have to advertise. Now, my personal experience has been that Facebook advertising was very slow burn. I got something back out of it, but not what I felt like I should have. There used to be something called Home Advisor, which is now Angie's List. And if I'm being honest, that works too. That will get you some work, but it's kind of a money grab too. It's a little bit scammy. Stay away from Yelp. Don't even bother setting up a Yelp profile. Summarize how they work is, as soon as you get a good review, they'll call you. That sure is a nice looking review you have right there. Be a shame if something happened to it. Oh, by the way, but if you want to pay a bunch of money, I'm sure that review will stay relevant. And if you don't, suddenly you're going to have bad reviews of customers that you've never even seen. Trust me, I've been down that road with Yelp more than a few times. And I can also round up some other business owners who will pretty much sing the same song as me. But none of those things have been as effective for my business as Google pay-per-click and Google local services. Now, your business may not qualify for Google local services, but if it does, that's the one that you really need to get into. They're better leads. They cost more, and there's not as many of them, but they are better leads. Having said that, Google pay-per-click is also a great resource. In my opinion, you need to do both. I'm also going to tell you that pay-per-click, which is what they call it, is not actually what you want. You'll have to start there, but what you want is pay-per-call. Pay-per-click just puts people on your website. That's not what I want, and I don't think that's what most businesses want. Sure, you have a website, you'd be happy for people to look at it. But I think what most businesses want is for their phone to ring and for someone to say, come out and, give me an estimate or do whatever work it is that you're trying to have them to do. And during your setup process of the Google pay-per-click, you can tell it, I don't want the clicks, I want the phone calls. Be careful and look for that. I'll do a much more in-depth video on how to get the most for your money in advertising online. That's on down the road. So make sure you're subscribed if you want to see that information, because I'm telling you, it'll save you a bunch of money and a bunch of headaches. Tell everyone you know. You can create a digital card on your phone, and if you want to tell someone, hey, let me send it to you, you can text that person your digital contact and your digital business card. You don't even need the paper ones any longer. And at least to start with, that is a great way to tell a lot of people what it is that you do, because that's a huge network. Every single person that you told knows a lot of other people. And chances are pretty good that at least one of those people may know someone who needs whatever service it is that you're offering. Get out your phone. Look at your contact list. You know enough people that it's worth you telling them what it is you do. The next step is to get equipped. I can't think of a single business that doesn't have some sort of, tools of the trade. For the HVAC industry, for example, I need torches, I need vacuum pumps, I need gauges, I need all kind of stuff. I got to have shelves, and probably the most important, I need a service vehicle. When I first started out, I actually didn't have a truck. I'd been working for someone else for so long. I'd been driving their service truck. And the only car that I actually owned was a 2000 model Pontiac Trans Am. Silly though it may be, the first several months that I was in business for myself, I ran service calls out of the worst possible car to be run. I suppose a motorcycle would be worse. But that car has no earthly business pulling up to someone's house and running air conditioning repair calls. It just doesn't. There were customers in the beginning that I would roll up and they would say, wow, that's not what I expected. Or, some other variation of, are you really equipped to do this? I can't tell you how many times I would make a diagnosis and then say, but let me go to the supply house and pick up whatever it is you need because I couldn't possibly store it in this vehicle. Plan on getting yourself equipped the right way. You're going to need some kind of credit. At least I did. Maybe you don't. I had to have some kind of credit. Tread lightly. Credit is one of those things that can be extremely helpful for you. And it can also ruin you. You will damage your credit score if you max out your card. Your credit will stay very high if you have multiple cards that are below, that exact number is hard to say, but around 50%, most people agree, will not harm your credit. So that's the way I did it, and it so far has worked really well. I know that Dave Ramsey would tell you that you don't need credit, and he's right. He's absolutely right. You should listen to Dave Ramsey. But I'm also going to tell you that here in the real world where I live, I couldn't start a business without it. And I think most people are in that situation as well. Dave has a point, and I'm not saying it's wrong. But what I'm saying is if I did it that way, I would probably be too old to start my own business. I used about 4 credit cards, and I bought the tools that I had to have. I used one credit card for marketing. I used another credit card for just gas. And I used another credit card for buying equipment. There were times when I had jobs that came up, and I had to put a significant investment in order to secure that job. And I couldn't have done it had I not had the credit to me, and that would have been money lost and a sale lost. Get some management software. This has been a huge one. Management software is exceptionally important. I use House Call Pro. It allows me to store a customer database. It allows me to set up jobs and schedule them for weeks out where I might forget if I would be driving down the road. But being able to schedule them, that far out, not have to worry it's going to appear on my schedule, have a history of what I did at the customer's house, have photographs of everything we did, it's extremely helpful. Plus, if you want to know what kind of month you've had, it tells you how much money you spent, it'll tell you how much money you made, it'll tell you who still owes you money, and I'm here to tell you, if your business takes off, you're going to get busy, and before you know it, as crazy as it sounds, you're going to lose track of who owes you money. Management software is worth every penny. It's worth every penny that I pay. And I think I pay around $250 a month, and I'm going to tell you right now, with absolute certainty, it is worth it. You're going to need to come up with your pricing. Depending on what you sell, there may not be a very standardized pricing system. Pricing is one of those things that it's impossible for me to tell you. I will tell you that I think any business making less than $85 an hour is probably going to struggle. And I'll go ahead and tell you right now, most HVAC businesses are anywhere from $125 to $300 an hour. That's a big range because there's a big range in the HVAC companies out there and what they do. Let's just take $125 an hour. If you're self-employed and you're charging $125 an hour, even if it's just you and you're working on your own, you're still going to have to buy a set of tires every once in a while. You're still going to have to wash your vehicle. You're going to have to change your oil, your health insurance, your retirement. The government is going to take almost half of that money in taxes. All of those things are factored in when your money is collected. And so your $125 an hour is way less than you thought it was. You got to make enough money to make it worth your while and worth the risk. Get set up with your suppliers. Now this one may sound strange to you depending on what you do, but there are a lot of types of industries out there where you can't just walk into the local supply house and buy whatever it is you need. For example, if I go to your house and I discover that your air conditioner is low of refrigerant and needs a charge, I'm not able to just roll up to the supply house and buy a drum of refrigerant. Even though I'm licensed, even though I meet all the criteria, they are going to require me to have an account with them. Don't let the reason that you lost a call be that you didn't take however many minutes it took to set up an account, at least with a few of your local supply houses. Those things made the list for a reason, so trust me. Just trust me, bro. Hopefully those tips have been helpful for you. If they have, go ahead and give me a like, a thumbs up, a subscribe, something, a comment down below. Anything you can do to let the almighty algorithm know that you are enjoying this content. In the next video, I plan to cover business banking versus, regular people banking, organizations, accountants, that kind of stuff. It's a little bit more boring of a subject, but trust me, get out ahead of this up front. It's way easier to do it in the beginning than it is to come back at the end and try to make these changes. So until next time, this is Jason with the channel that doesn't have a name yet. Again, I will have a name by the time I shoot the third video, and hopefully by the time this channel goes live. So, good luck out there.